What's going on, everyone? Alex De Silva, happy as Larry Group. I hope you are well, and welcome to another episode of the Feel Good Show. Um, I'm here on my own today. I have no guest. I am going to be your guest. So, as some of you may or may not know, uh, Lucy and I have just recently had a baby. She was born a week ago, exactly today. And what an experience it has been. It's been a real incredible experience. And the reason I'm doing the podcast today, the reason I want to do this show is to talk about this exact experience. The past, 9 months, and 21 days. And it's been really, really interesting. And one of the things that it has really triggered for me, it taught me a lot about being a man. I am a man. I was born a man. But what I mean by that is being a real husband, is being a real partner, and being a real father throughout this process. I've done it before. I've got a son who's 20 and I've got a daughter who's 13. And recently, our little girl arrived into the world, as I said, exactly a week ago. So I wanted to just share that experience because giving birth is something I'm never going to experience myself. I can't do that. So unless one day technology figures it out, men are going to be unable to go through this. And one of the things that really troubles me is I've grown up around, women. I've had, some incredible, and still do have some incredible women in my life, family and friends, who inspire me. And, I've learned a hell of a lot, from them, how to become a better man, how to become a better partner. And it was really interesting, to go through this experience. One of the things for me, which was new, is to go through this experience in recovery. I've been in recovery now for over two years. I'll be 2.5 years in December. And it's really interesting because, I don't take any substance. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't drug, and so I'm very connected with my emotions, and it's a completely new experience. So for me, before, I could very easily numb any issues that I had, and any worries, any stress, any anxiety, any fears. I could just easily numb all of that by having a drink or sniffing a line of cocaine. But I don't do those things. So that was something really new to me. Not that I did it before. Drinking, yes. Not the using part. But it was just a really, really interesting experience. And I wanted to share that with you because I think this is just my own experience. I just want to highlight that to start with. It's my personal experience, and I hope this could help other men and women and partners together, as a unit, to go through the birthing experience more positively, and I think more from a man's perspective, because for me, what I found difficult was not being able to do anything. That's what I thought. I can't do anything. I'm not going through pregnancy. I'm not going through each of those trimesters. I'm not the one being sick. I'm not the one, having to carry the baby. I'm not the one, whose hormones are changing all the time. And, so for me, we usually get stuck with this label that, and sometimes people say in banter, and, some people generally tend to be quite serious about it. And they, men are useless. You can't do anything, what can you do? And actually there is a hell of a lot that we can do. And, I'm all about bringing things that are positive. I'm not here to bash anybody or anything. For me, I always look for a solution around things. That's how I work. That's how I think. And through this process, I learned a hell of a lot. It was quite fearing for me because I love my wife more than anything. I love my kids. I love my daughter. I love my son, my family and friends. I'm a person who is now even more emotionally connected. So going through this process was really interesting because I spoke to Lucy about this, and I said to her, look, I want to do this show today. And what did I do that really helped you? What was really important? Because I took a few things away from it, and I thought this would be really useful to share, with other men. The whole point to the show is to be able to bring things so that we can help each other as men, as gentlemen, as brothers, because it's important for us to go through these things together. Because unfortunately, men don't have that community where we can talk openly and we can be vulnerable and we can say, oh man, I'm really struggling with this. I don't know what to do. Because we're supposed to just shoulder everything and everything is okay all the time. But listen, that's far from the truth. Truth of the matter is we have emotions like women. We're born exactly the same way other than our gender. So from an emotional perspective, we share exactly the same thing. It's just that sometimes some of us are a little bit more emotionally intelligent than others. And what I mean by that is that, we're able to process the emotion a little bit clearer and a little bit better. So the first thing that came up, that through our conversation today was, the emotional support. Lucy said that the emotional support was huge for her. And by that, she's going through so much, from the beginning until the end, until the baby arrived. And it was really interesting because, as I said, I felt a little bit useless, and there were times where I felt I wasn't doing enough, or I wasn't, I felt like I couldn't really do anything. But actually, I didn't realize I was doing a hell of a lot. And, I wanted to make a note of those things, to share that, so that hopefully any men who are going through this, who don't know what to do, here's something that can kind of help you out as well, and hopefully will help your partner through this process, because it can make things a lot easier for her. And, it is about her, simple as that. It's about her. It's making sure that she's okay. It's making sure that she's cared for. It's making sure that she's loved. It's making sure that she's supported. You are in this together. She's having to do her part. But what I've realized is that you have your part too. I have my part in this. And this is what I've realized. So the emotional support is huge. It's absolutely huge. Just to be there when, as Lucy kind of said, sometimes she said to me, oh, I feel sick of moaning all the time. And I said to her, baby, you're not moaning. You're going through this emotional turmoil. Everything is changing. Your hormones are all over the place. And, physically you're changing as well, because, the baby's growing and developing, and, and there is a hell of a lot going on. And this is early start of the process. As the process then goes on, the baby gets bigger and so does she. But Lucy's one of those, she's been incredible throughout this process, where she trained throughout the whole process, throughout the whole pregnancy pretty much. Coming up to about 9 months, she was still CrossFitting, but very safely. She wasn't doing anything crazy, and she'd always ask my opinion. And we've got, where we train, we've got incredible coaches there who also supported, and that helps. This whole thing of, you have to eat for two, or you don't. That's an absolute myth. Look after your body. That's one of the things that, she highlighted, and she's really, really happy about, was being able to look after her body. Because you've got to understand, if you're looking after your body, you're training, you're eating healthy, when you're doing all the right things, not only are you looking after you now, and what Lucy's seeing now is the recovery process that she's going through now is so much quicker. Just a week, since the baby was born, I've seen, and she's seen a huge difference in her already. Her recovery is so much better. So that's something that is really worth considering. Is look after your body, eat the right things, exercise cautionally. Make sure you're doing what's right for you. I'm no expert about that. So get somebody's opinion to see what you can and can't do, and listen to yourself. So these things are really important, because you are going to go through that transition. And so the emotional support, we both found, it was really, really important. So just being there for her when she needed me, I didn't realize, naturally that's the kind of person I am. And I know some people take to these things, naturally. Some people don't. So for the people that don't, is try to be a little bit more present. Don't feel as though it's a burden, or don't feel as though your partner is moaning at you, because she's not. She's just going through this real difficult process at the moment, which is birth, which is pregnancy. And there is a hell of a lot that goes into this, and I think some men don't really understand, because it's not something we go through. So it is actually quite hard to understand. I don't understand it completely. I'm kind of just, because Lucy and I speak quite a lot, I try to kind of understand, and I am a coach as well. I'm a life coach, and, I try to, I specialize in emotional intelligence. So I ask a lot of questions and say, how are you feeling? What's going on? So ask those questions, be inquisitive, ask your partner, how are you doing? What can I do? How can I be of service? And do these things because you want to do them. Don't do these things because you're being forced to, and then moan about it after, or throw it back in her face. You've got to understand there is two of you in this relationship, and effectively there's going to be two of you in this relationship moving forward, because there always has to be a father and there's got to be a mother too. So emotional support was huge. And providing comfort is also something, Lucy said to me, she goes, you made me feel so comfortable, and by that was just the little things like putting a pillow behind her back, or, lifting her feet up, putting her feet on a little stool, just these little things are so important, because it makes, again, that little process just a little bit easier for her. And that's what you want to do. This is a long process. It's 9 months. It may come a little bit earlier. And in our case, it actually came late. She was 12 days late. So providing comfort is really important. And again, for each woman, that can differ. Go back to asking a question. Listen, what can I do for you? How can I help? Give her a massage, massaging her feet. Their feet swell up, their hands swell up, they're carrying weight at the front as well, from, as well as kind of breast milk, as well as the stomach as well, and the baby. So there is a lot up front, which, she'll be carrying, and she'll be, and it gets worse, throughout the pregnancy. So just being able to kind of massage their lower back is something that I did a lot for Lucy. And one of the things that she really loved is every now and then I would give her a big hug, but what I'll do is I'll hold the bottom of her belly and just lift the belly up slightly, and it takes so much weight off of her. And she really appreciated that. It was a real she used to absolutely love it. So little things like that, I think little touches make such a difference, and just on a daily basis, I think these things can really make a difference in helping her and you go through this pregnancy process. And don't forget that you're in this process as well as she is. Again, she's carrying, but you're in it, you're in it as well. And so make this process about you as much as it is about her. But what I mean about you is involve yourself in it, immerse yourself in that, and start to get involved. It's a scary process, especially for a man, because we don't really understand what's going on, but we're not morons, we're not idiots. There is, we can ask questions, and we can just find out, look, what's going on? How are you feeling? What can I do? How can I be of service? Little things like that make such a huge difference for your partner. And should really appreciate that, to know that you give her, that you care, and just being loving and caring. Not being a fixer, that's something that was interesting. I think men naturally just want to fix things because, we're very black and white, direct. If something's wrong, let's just fix it, move on. But the understanding, again, is being able to just take a little bit of a step back and realize for us as men is that this is a long process, and we're going to be here every single day. So there is not a, let's just fix this, because there isn't, it's not a, one solution that fixes everything. It's every day is going to be something different. If your partner, for example, some women suffer with morning sickness, and that's something that I know can be really horrible. Lucy suffered really badly in the first trimester, which is the first 3 months. And it was tough, man. It was really tough because, again, what can I do? I'm not the person being sick, but what I can do is I can go and get her a bottle of water. I can go and give her a hug afterwards, or go and give her a kiss and just say, baby, you're all right, and just give her that encouragement and support, and, give her some water, find out what she wants. And again, just being there. You don't need to fix anything, but just be the provider, when she needs it, and just be that support. I cannot stress enough, the emotional support. I think that's why it came up first, because, that's one of the things where it goes from the beginning all the way to the end, and then it continues, once the baby's here as well. And just listen, just be a listener. Again, you don't have to fix anything, but listening is such a huge thing. Lucy said to me, she goes, sometimes you just wouldn't say anything, but you just listened. But really listened, and again, just kind of ask questions and see whether you can do anything. Not try to fix it, but just ask and see what will make things of that a little bit better. Or sometimes just shut up and, again, just listen. That's it. Give her a hug and a kiss. Tell her you love her every single day. Again, those tiny little things go such a long way, in the long-term process, because this is going to be a real long-term process. It makes a huge, huge difference. Just being able to just listen. Simple. That's it. And you guys will get it, because, black and white, just listen, but really listen. Don't sit there with your phone in your hand, or watching TV or watching football. We have, technology is fantastic nowadays. If your wife needs you or your partner needs you, fuck the game. Record the fucking thing and watch it later. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is time to step up and be a real man, and again, this is for real men. This is for men who want to grow up and who want to be here for their partners. And you guys will get this. And the little boys who want to step up to be men, some of you may not like this, but that's okay. But when you're ready, you will listen to this and you will understand, where I'm coming from. And again, I'm not picking on anybody here. I'm just kind of speaking from my own experience, and hopefully, give you guys something to work with as well. And look, we're all in this together, and there's no right, there's no wrong. What works for one person, may not work for another, but just kind of being there, and just kind of stepping up. One thing I will say, and I will keep mentioning this along, is listen, have fun with this as well. Like, Lucy and I laughed a lot. We joke around things, and not taking things so seriously. This is such a beautiful process. You're creating a life, and the odds of this little person being born is 400 trillion to 1. 400 trillion to 1, are the odds of you, anybody on this earth being alive, and it's incredible. It's, and we talked about this all the time throughout the whole pregnancy, how incredible, what you do with your partner, what a man and what a woman does when they come together and create this life. It is the most incredible thing in the world. There is nothing, there is no money, there is nothing that will beat this experience. So enjoy it, be involved. You will really benefit from this. I swear, I really, really have. And it's been a real incredible experience. So little things like massages, as I said, those little back massages, the shoulder massages, the hands, especially as she starts to, the belly and the baby starts to grow and develop. She can't move all the time, things start to get a little bit more restrictive. But again, just make things fun. We had a little nickname for the baby. We called her Lumpy. And I'd kind of call Lucy, we just kind of said Lumpy, and that was it. And I'd give her a kiss, and it was a loving thing, and she was beautiful, as she started to kind of get bigger and she started to get self-conscious about her image and how she was feeling. And And I used to say to her, baby, you're beautiful. You're absolutely stunning. I love you no matter what, and the thing is, she genuinely was, she looked absolutely beautiful when she was pregnant, and, watching her train and, and just watching her do things, I'm real proud husband, to be able to watch her go through this, and what she has to go through on a daily basis. And I think, it takes a real man to kind of step up, just in life in general, and be able to do these things, but to be real proud of your wife, to go through this stuff. Because I'm telling you now, I wouldn't want to be in her shoes. That's for sure. I definitely don't want to be doing this, and so I take my hat off when I watch my daughter, being born, 13 years ago, almost 14. I remember being there and watching her being born and just thinking, Jesus Christ, man, like this is on another level. So I take my hat off to every single woman that has given birth, man, because you ladies are incredible. We will not be here if it wasn't for you. If it was down to men, we'd be extinct a hell of a lot quicker than the dinosaurs. Trust me, we would not be here if it weren't for you. So, hats off. So support them. Be here for your partner, I think. And listen, little things like encouragement, it goes such a long way, just being able to give them that reassurance. And again, women will naturally go through the I'm really fat phase, I'm a rhino, I'm an elephant, and blah, 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 blah. And they will generally believe those things, and I used to laugh with Lucy, I used to laugh at her all the time, but not kind of laugh at her in a nasty way. It's just that every time she started to feel like that, it used to just make me laugh because she looked so cute and just so beautiful. And he'd say to her, baby, stop being silly, like you really don't. And it made her feel loved and cared for. And she could genuinely see that, I wasn't lying. And it does help. It really does help. And again, on a daily basis, if you're catching them at that point where, they are feeling really, really down or really emotionally drained, you will be so surprised that if you just have that moment, you pick that moment when you say the right thing, it will just make their day. So listen out for those things. Don't think that because they are reacting in that way, or if they're feeling down, or as we kind of label it as, they're moaning. They're not moaning. They're going through a hell of a lot from an emotional perspective. So there is a lot for them to carry. Take that burden, take it away from them, and it's not a lot. It's not like you've got to carry it. It's literally simple little things that we can do as men to be able to, to just make things change, and doing it when you genuinely mean it. It makes a huge, huge difference. So, chivalry and protection, I think that goes a long way. One of the things for me, I always wanted to be a gentleman. I remember, my uncle always kind of looked at him and he talked to me about being a gentleman. He said, when you grow up, you want to be a gentleman. You want to look after, your partner, and you want to be there for your family, and you want to be a provider. You want to be a gentleman. I always aspire to be a gentleman. I always aspire to be a good husband, a good father, a good son, friend, brother. And, and I'm working towards that. And I work towards that all the time. Am I perfect? Far from it. But again, there is no such thing as perfection. It's experience. It's just being able to trial things and just do things. And sometimes I get it wrong, and sometimes I get it right. So chivalry is one of those things. And guys, look, the reason I'm talking to you about this is not to put any pressure on you, is hopefully to take that away from you as well. Because I didn't have anybody doing this for me. And I didn't go and search on YouTube for anything like this either. So, it was, I'm doing this because I want us to have something that we can go to, that if you don't want to ask for help to somebody, then at least hopefully you can kind of type something up and this will come up and there's your answer, but again, this is not an A to Z. This is just my personal experience, and moving forward, I am contactable. You can, go to our website and you can contact me directly. If you want to have a chat with me, I'm more than happy. Listen, we're here to support each other. That's just, this is this is what our business is all about. This is what I'm all about, So what I mean by protection is little things like, opening doors, just kind of, helping her up, helping around the house as well, just being able to kind of do the dinner and clean up after yourself, make things a little bit more comfortable for both of you as well. These things, again, the little things. It's not about the big stuff. It's not about buying her flowers every day. It's not about buying her materialistic things. All of these things are great short term, but trust me, the problem isn't going to go anywhere, because the little daily things are the things that we need to take into consideration. And I guarantee you, by doing those tiny little things, the things that really count, you will save so much more money for what's really, really important, which will be that beautiful little life, that, you will have time and time and time to kind of spend with and really, really enjoy. But whatever works for both of you. Again, there's no set rule to any of this. It's trial and trial. That's it. Trial and experience. That's it. It's what works for you. So, whatever you find, and again, you will have your relationship with your partner. The relationship I have with Lucy isn't based on materialism. It's based, around love. It's based around honesty. It's based around communication. And, so that's why me talking to you guys is kind of giving you something other than, going to the shop and buying her flowers every day, or buying a chocolate, or buying this and buying that, because these things are great, but very, it's superficial. It doesn't really deal with the real problem. So, the protection part is, again, going through that emotional, the emotional change, and you do get people who like to, all of a sudden everybody comes out of the woodworks and everybody's a pregnancy expert, and, and they talk about every single experience that they've been through, and, the good, the bad, the ugly tends to be 90% ugly and 10% good, and you've got to be careful with this, and so on and so forth. And some people just don't have a filter. And that's what I mean by protection. It's not being there as a bouncer, but it's behind closed doors. That's where the protection bit comes in, because she will come to you and say, oh, so-and-so said this, or so-and-so did this, or maybe just somebody random in the street, because it does happen where, we are so distracted nowadays, we don't pay attention around what's going on around us. So again, just being there to communicate and just talk things through, and just be that kind of voice of reason, and just being able to make things easier, staying calm and just, taking control when you need to, because again, the whole emotional thing, you can't, we do need to step up, and to really just be able to turn around and say, listen, leave this with me. I'll take care of it. Go and speak to the doctor, go and speak to the nurse, go and speak to the midwife, be there to listen, and make sure that you are listening so you do understand, because, the whole baby brain thing, it does come in. And not just that, there is so many more emotions. And speak to your partner, she'll tell you, and I'm sure, you can speak to pretty much any female, any woman, and I did, and I asked questions, women that I train with, friends, and, family. And, these things are true, and just being able to say, look, what works for you, and, oh, this is what I've done. And again, communication is so important around this stuff, and being loving, being caring, compliments, but genuine compliments, and and just generally giving a monkeys, and because it's so easy for us to detach. And although we are there physically, we're not really there, mentally, emotionally, because we feel, although we're not good enough, although that's probably not the right word, but because, and I have mentioned this previously, because we are not going through the birthing process, the pregnancy process, it's almost like we feel redundant. I felt redundant. And I kept saying to Lucy, I kept apologizing, saying, I'm really sorry, baby. Like, I don't know what to do. And, but then I realized later, because she said to me, she goes, listen, all of these things that you've done made such a huge difference. And So, this is why I'm sharing it, because it's so key. So, post pregnancy, I think, this is where things then really start to get real. We're kind of getting that 9 month. We thought she was going to be early. She was breached to start with. We booked a cesarean. Originally we wanted to have um, like I can't remember the name, but we wanted to do a birth in a pool. And, we wanted things to be, very calm, very spiritual. We were going to meditate through it and, just have some really nice calming music and some candles. And it did not go that way at all. It was completely the opposite, from when she was breech, we had a cesarean booked, and then she turned and things then went back to normal. We went and had a scan, and the doctor then said she was going to come early. So we thought, yay, she's going to be here at a certain time. And then actually, as it turned out, she was almost 2 weeks late. So, one of the key things I want to say is manage those expectations. Manage those things right at the beginning. When your wife is sat there, or your partner, she's sat there looking at that birth plan. Listen, you have a say too. You're in this together, and by making yourself involved, and you're in it together. You can't all of a sudden, just be completely redundant and not be involved at all. And then whenever you want, just jump in and, and change things, try to be controlling. That's not going to go down very well. And I don't think it's, it's, you want to be able to kind of talk these things through together. I think it's so important. And going through this process as a couple is key, and be able to communicate these things. So yes, set a birth plan, go through these things together, and Lucy wrote it out. I read it. I said, look, are you sure we want to do this? We may want to be a little bit flexible. And she stuck to her birthing plan, and that's what we stuck to pretty much, throughout the process. But as it turned out, it didn't go the way it was planned. The birth control just went out of the window. What we planned just, it wasn't, it didn't happen. We ended up spending, 4 days in hospital, and, because the baby just wasn't coming. She was just too chilled. She was chilled out throughout the whole process. She was a little yogi. She just didn't move. She was just very, very relaxed, so it just wasn't her little time. But, because it kind of got to the point where she was overdue, and we went to the hospital and we spent 4 days there. The process just didn't happen. The contractions weren't there, and she just wasn't dilating. So then we had to go through the induction process. And the induction process isn't fun, because, they have to kind of pump you through, full of hormones, and, which isn't fun for a woman. It's actually really, really painful. So, Lucy opted for an epidural, which again, completely the opposite of what we originally planned. We wanted to have a water birth, and, into having something really calm and completely natural. And that really stressed her out, because it wasn't to what she was expecting. So I had to sit down with her and have a real honest conversation with her, and actually just give her a bit of a reality check, but not in kind of in a nasty way, but as in, I'm her husband. I'm here to support her. And sometimes, as she always does with me, I have to do with her, and just say, listen, baby, you've got to understand that it's not going to go to how you plan. And you stressing yourself out isn't going to help you or the baby, or this process, So we talk things through, together. It's not me telling her what to do, because it's not in my place to do that, but just being able to be a voice of reason, and just being able to make sure that, she's weighing things up a little bit, and I've always said to her, look, I'll support you whatever you do. That was always my words. As long as you are healthy and you're safe and the baby's healthy and safe, baby, I don't care. That's my thing. As long as you're both okay, that's the most important thing for me. So, we were in the hospital for 4 days, and communication was really key, just being together as a unit and being there for her. I talked about just again, going back to that kind of being protective and supportive, I think that's really, really important, because vulnerability then really starts to kick in. And it was a tough experience. She got very, very emotional. It's a real emotional process, and an emotional process for me as well, because I just want the best for her and the baby. I just want to make sure that they're both okay. And again, my hands are tied in a sense where I'm not going through this. She is. So, because I am a caring person, I love my wife, and I love, our daughter who's not born yet. I just want things to be okay. So the element of control for me is I want to control this, and I want to make sure everything is okay. But the thing is, I can't. That's the reality. I can't. I can't bring the baby out. I can't speed the process up. So, but what I can do, what I can control is how I behave, is how I react, is what I do. Again, the little things. Protecting your wife, talking to her, making sure she's okay, hugs, kisses, cuddles, massages, whatever. Just make her feel like she's being protected, that you are her man, and because, again, those little things go a long, long way, a hell of a lot further than going to the shop and buying her something. Again, that solves the problem short term, and it's not solving the real issue. So take control when you need to. Sometimes with these, we were very lucky in a sense where the nurses, the midwife, the doctors that we had, they were great. And, but sometimes people don't go through the same experience. And I found sometimes when, the nurse or the doctors were talking, they were talking to her, and I made myself visible. I asked a question. And again, this is the thing. People naturally think that men are redundant. So they don't speak to you. They'll speak to your wife or your partner. So stand there as a partner, as a husband, as a unit, side by side, and ask the questions and be there and say, what can I do? What do you need me to do? And let them know that you're there, and not in an aggressive or egotistic way, but in a proud, I'm her husband. I'm here for my wife. I'm useful. And you will see how people really respect you then, and they will come and talk to you. And when they're asking your opinion, they will also look at you and go, what do you think, Dad? Are you happy with this? And I'll look at her and I'd say, Lucy, are you happy with that, baby? And sometimes I say, listen, can you give us 5 minutes? Can we talk about it? And we talk about it. There's no rush with this stuff. To clarify, for you and your wife, this is your process. You are going through this as a unit. So whatever decisions you have to make, you make those decisions together. Make those decisions. And if you need to take 5 minutes, you tell the doctor, you tell the nurse, yep, give me 5 minutes. Let me speak to my wife about it, and I'll come back to you. They're not going to rush you. They're not going to throw you out of hospital. And, it's one of these things. It's your right to do that as well. You don't want to be rushed into something, especially if this is your first time and you're not experienced in this. There is a lot of emotions, even for you as a man as well. I started to kind of feel a little bit fearful, although I've done it twice before. I was a little calmer because I had the sort of the previous experience, but this is nothing that I've experienced before. This is completely different. So again, it was a completely new experience for me, even though I've, been a father before. So take control where you need to, and again, listen, understand what's going on, try to understand what the terminologies are, what she's going to go through, what the process of the induction is, what's going into her body, what the epidural is, and how they administer it. Because when they administer the epidural, on Lucy, it only worked on one side. So half of her body was completely numb, and then the other half, she was still feeling this. So then, she had to then move onto her left side to make sure that the epidural was then working on her left side as well. And that was really irritating because she is, she's got this huge baby on her. She can't move around like you and I can. And it's really irritating because, she's in pain and it's uncomfortable. So again, step up, make her feel comfortable, talk to her. What do you need? Make sure she's hydrated. because she's not going to be able to eat. Once she goes in through that process, they're not allowed to eat, so hydrate her, keep going and getting loads of water. If she's too hot, if she's too cold, whatever. Again, those tiny little things pay off long term, because as it starts to go through this is now becoming real, so you've really got to step up your game. And again, I'm not trying to stress you out here. I mean, it's just be a little bit mindful, you are so helpful as you're going through this. And I really started to realize how helpful I was through the whole process. It's really interesting because I'm not redundant in this, and neither are you, and neither any men who are genuinely interested in being a true birthing partner. Get in that room, be there, be the man throughout the whole process, and then she won't kick you out, and you won't feel left out. If you step up and you show yourself that you are, a responsible man and a potential responsible father, what partner's not going to want them there? You can say, oh, my partner doesn't want me there. It's probably because you're a bit of an idiot, and you haven't stepped your game. So do the right thing. And again, I'm not picking on anybody here. I'm just kind of just highlighting the reality, really, and the reality is that sometimes we can be like that, but it's not our fault. It's just that we don't understand what's going on. And I completely get that, so I had two choices: to either step away or step up. I stepped up, so I'm sharing the experience of what that means. So during the labor process, just don't panic, try to get as much sleep as you possibly can. The whole process is uncomfortable. She's going to sleep on a bed and you'll be sleeping on the sofa next to her. Sometimes, if you're lucky to get one of those that incline, then great, you're going to get, a little bit of sleep. But you are going to be in a room amongst other women as well before you go down into the, into the labor ward. You're going to be, in a cubicle with other women and their partners as well. So there's going to be a lot of snoring. There is going to be some disruptions. Earplugs, one of the greatest things my wife introduced me to. Bring some earplugs for you and her, because it will help you sleep. And make sure you bring a pillow, just, something for you to get comfortable, and just do what you can. Again, step up, and just be there. She will appreciate it so much, and it will make such a huge difference for you as well. It will bring you so much closer as a couple. And I think it's so important, for couples to have that intimacy. And this is very intimate. Intimate is not just a sexual thing. Intimacy between couples is being there and then having this interaction and being able to go through this experience, which is incredible. It's scary as hell sometimes, but it's completely unpredictable, absolutely unpredictable. But it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Yeah, I can't describe it in any other way. So during the labor process, try not to panic. When we got moved downstairs, I just went through the process and just tried to be there. Just tried to be there. Just kept giving her water, make sure she was hydrated, kept a look out on the bag. The epidural, as it comes through a drip and then it goes into her back, and they give you this little control, which every 20 minutes. So it takes 4 minutes for the epidural to then go through to the body, and then you get a 15-minute break so that so she doesn't overdose. So you can't overdose on that stuff. But what happens is then once it goes down, you can then click the button. Your wife's going to fall asleep. She's going to be absolutely shattered through this process. So be vigilant and just, make sure that the timer's there. So when the timer then goes down, go and click that button, because once that thing wears off, and it did, the midwife and the doctor who administered, they didn't keep a check on the bag, and the bag was empty, and this takes a long time to then, for the process to then go through. And she was in a hell of a lot of pain, by the time they came back, and the machine wasn't working, and the whole thing was just, it was not cool. But again, me screaming and shouting at the doctor and the nurse isn't going to change anything. So what did I do? I stayed calm, make sure she's okay, make sure that she had the gas and air, helped her to breathe and just relax, gave her kisses and just again, hugs, and just make sure that she's comfortable, and made her feel okay, protected. Women usually snap out, or they, when they feel like, what, I can do this on my own, I can do it better. But if you're there throughout the whole process, even if she does feel like that, then allow her to have that space, but always be there when she needs you, because she's going to. So one of the things Lucy said to me, which was really funny, she said, you just don't complain. You just don't complain. We had to get up at, God knows what time of the morning, and just having to drive back and forth to the hospital, go to midwife appointments, so on and so forth. And, one day she just turned around and said to me, you just don't ever complain. I was like, what's there to complain about? You're carrying my baby and you're my wife. I said, so what do you want me to do? Get you to jump in a cab and go to the hospital? No, I'll drive you. We have a car. What? So I can get more sleep. We're in this together. This is the thing. I stepped up. We step up. We go in. That's it. Let's just get it done. And I have that attitude already where let's just get things done. Let's just go with it. I don't contemplate. I don't worry. I don't think about stuff like this. So for me, like, there is not even an element of me of, oh God, this is such a chore. This is such a pain in the ass. I want to make sure my wife's safe. I want to make sure my baby's okay. And, let's just, once I realized my role in this, and hopefully you will realize yours, you just get on with it. And that's it. Just get on with it. And I know some people it doesn't come naturally. It won't come naturally to you. But again, that's absolutely okay. Don't panic. Don't worry. You're not doing anything wrong. If you're just there and, you're doing those tiny little things. And again, if you don't know what you need to do, ask her, speak to her, say, baby, are you okay? And I said to Lucy a lot, I used to say to her, baby, are you okay? And, often she'd say, yeah, I'm fine. And then eventually, I know, you can look at your wife or your partner and you know that she's not okay. So I'd speak to her, and then eventually she'll then burst into tears, or she'll just say, actually, do you know what? I'm not. I just feel drained, or, I'm not feeling too great, or she doesn't, she maybe doesn't even know the answer to something, and that's the beauty about technology, is that you can pick these bad boys up. You can eventually just Google it, just stick it on there and find the answer and talk things through. Listen, you're in it together. So there is no right or wrong in this, it's just your experience. And I guess the point to this is, make your experience, both of your experience around this, as comfortable as possible. That's it. You want to have, and this wasn't a great birthing experience for Lucy at all. She really didn't enjoy this. It was completely the opposite of what, she expected. But the most important thing is that she is okay and the baby was okay, and that was my thing, is just to make sure that they were both okay. So, the baby didn't come, through the induction. And, the decision then was to, the doctors then came in, they re-examined her a couple of times. She got to about 7 centimeters. They examined her again after a few hours. She was still exactly the same. And by this point, she had been awake, in and out of sleep. She hadn't eaten for, at least 24 hours. And she was absolutely shattered. And I just said, look, we need to make a decision here. And she didn't want to have a C-section. And again, that's the reality check part. This is where you step up. And I said to her, baby, look, we're going to have to think about this. I don't want you going through this anymore. I didn't want to see my wife in pain. I don't want to see her uncomfortable. She's crying and, and she's, a little bit out of it as well, because, she's got, this epidural pumping through her, and she's having to have gas and air as well, because, the drugs weren't working as they were supposed to. They weren't administered how they were supposed to either. The bag got empty, and they didn't change it in time. So I just kind of got to the point where I thought, okay, this is where, again, you step up as a man. So I just said to her, look, I think we need to consider it. I think we should consider it, because I want you to be safe. And I said, and I don't want you going through this. I said, do you really want to be sat here? Because they said, look, you can sit here for another couple of hours, 2 to 3 hours, And when they say 2 hours, they mean 3 hours, because they don't come around, within the 2 hours, because they've got so many other people to see and so much else to do. So she would have been sat there for a lot longer. And we had a little chat. I said, look, can you give us a few minutes? Can we talk this through? And we sat there, we talked through it. And by this point, then Lucy's mum had come down. And again, she was great. She sat back. She didn't interfere. She did what she needed to do. And I made sure that she was okay, because I didn't want her to feel, as though like she was kind of interrupting what her and I were doing. I want her to feel a part of this as well. She's my mother-in-law, she's my family. And, she was comfortable. I think she was probably just happy to see me getting involved, and she knew then, again, it gave her comfort to see that her daughter was in safe hands. She was in her husband's safe pair of hands, and she could just sit there. And if she needed anything, if we needed anything from her, she was there. She was absolutely incredible. And, and again, this is the thing, it's coming together as a unit, and it's not panicking. And she was really calm. She was there for Lucy, and we were laughing. There were times where we were laughing as well and kind of just joking. But we made the decision to go through the C-section. And that was tough because Lucy was really scared. She really started to panic, because the epidural wasn't working. She was still in pain. And then we were now going to go into theatre to have a major operation. And this is a major stomach operation, and it's a big deal. So we talked through it. We had that conversation and we went into theatre, and even that for me, I've never experienced that before. So that for me was scary, man. It was great to put the overalls and kind of have that little George Clooney thing going on, feel like I'm in ER and I'm going to be one of the doctors. But, and I was even joking about it. But truth of the matter is I was pretty scared, and, but again, this is not about me. It's not, it's my wife and daughter, they are going through this now. And this is, again, it's not gone to the birthing plan. So what do we have to do? We have to go through it. I have to step up and I have to just make sure that she's okay. So we got her in theatre, and we're there and we're just, we're waiting for the process. And she started to really panic. She really started to panic, because she can still feel things. They administered, the epidural again. Thankfully, then it started to work, but because she was really, really scared and she was shaking, absolutely shaking, and she kept crying and saying, I don't want, this is going to be painful. I don't want to feel the pain, and the doctors, I've got to say, they were really good. They helped us as much as they possibly could. Our midwife, Jan, I'm going to give you a shout out because she was awesome. She was really lovely. And, it was, they were all there, and yeah, there were some things which did go wrong. They didn't do their best. Absolutely not. They could have definitely done more, and they've made some mistakes there. But again, my job is to make sure that my wife was okay. And I just sat next to her and I just, I held onto her hand and I just kissed her and I said to her, look at me. And I just kept speaking to her and just saying, you're going to be all right. You're strong. You're a powerful woman. You're a powerful woman. Look at you. Look at where you are now. You can go through this. And these are kind of the conversations that we were having. And, it's encouraging her. It's embracing her. She is a powerful woman. Your wife is a partner. She's a powerful woman to be going through this, whether it's natural labor or whether it's, induction or, the C-section. Give them that, those encouragements. Step up, be there for her emotionally. You will see how much it will pay off, and through the process, it was so quick. We were in there within the hour, and within, 5 to 10 minutes, she didn't even realize it had happened. Neither did I. We just kept talking, and I just kept talking to her. Next thing you know, the baby got pulled out, the blinds came down, and it was like a Lion King moment. It was like, oh, and the first thing that we both looked at was we looked at the baby and we thought, Jesus Christ, her hair's really dark. And we kind of looked at each other and just laughed. And she's like, oh my God, is that it? And I said, yeah, this is it. She's done. So I then and this is it. Now you're then enjoying the moment, but it was hard for me because I wanted to make sure Lucy was okay. Yes, I wanted to go over there and see the baby and give her a kiss. But what I wanted to do is get the baby over to Lucy, and we did. The midwife was great. She cleaned her, got her all sorted. And I said, I said, get her straight to Lucy. Let them have that contact. She deserves that. That's the biggest prize, that she deserves. She deserves that. And that's it, and her face, and it was emotional. I cried, and she was crying, and she was beautiful. She's a beautiful, beautiful baby. I'm so proud of my wife, for going through this process and standing tough, and because it's not easy. From an emotional perspective, this is tough going. It's not an easy experience, but I really respected her for just going through this, man. Because as I said, as a man, I will never go through it. I don't think it's something that I can do. Definitely not. So, I just then after that, it's just kind of enjoying those moments. Really, really is. Once she's out, she had to stay in hospital overnight, and then she came home. And at home, this is when it's then real. The baby's here. But this is the thing: if your wife has to go through major operations like a C-section, it doesn't mean baby's here, this is your responsibility. You still need to step up. You still need to be there. This is 50-50 responsibility between you and your wife or your partner. So yeah, I lost some sleep. So what? It is what it is. But thankfully, we were very smart. We split the feeds, or she's been breastfeeding, so she expressed she was breastfeeding, and we started to introduce a little bit of formula as well to give her a break, because emotionally it's been really tough on her. And she's recovering from this major operation. And today she's actually a hell of a lot better. But last week it was a different story. So the whole week has just been supporting, again, being there for her. Because that postnatal blues is true. There is a hell of a lot that goes on through a woman's body when she naturally gives birth. There is still a lot of things, a lot of hormones, and all the drugs and everything has to clear through the body. And so there are a lot of changes that we actually don't realize. Men don't think about these things and realize, fuck yeah, actually she's got a hell of a lot to go through still. You don't just give birth and everything goes back to normal. The body then has to clean and cleanse and heal. So there is a hell of a lot that has to go through. So being there is still really, really important. So our job doesn't stop there. Our job then carries on, and it's really important, again, just to kind of stay calm, trust the process. You know what you're doing. And if you don't, ask your wife, be there as a unit, and trust the process. Trust the process. Listen, we as human beings have a natural instinct of love. And that's it. Again, it's not materialism. You don't have to buy the baby anything. They don't care. They're pure beings. They are the most beautiful, the most purest beings. All they want is to be fed, to be loved. I kiss her, cuddle her, put her to sleep when she wakes up. If she's crying, if she's winded, that's it. Just get involved, And I think for first-time mothers and fathers who haven't gone through the baby's first proper cry, oh man, it cuts through like a knife. It's horrible, And when we got home and I changed Ruby, and oh my God, Lucy's poor face. She burst into tears because I was changing her nappy, and the baby's never had a nappy change before. She's never been wiped or cleaned, and she screamed the house down. She was absolutely screaming, but it ended very quickly. As soon as I picked her up, that was it. It was done. And she said, "Oh my God, I've never experienced this before." Now she doesn't even flinch. If she's a little bit windy, or she's just having a bit of a whinge, then the baby will cry. But other than that, she's kind of just she's gotten used to it. So there is a lot that you will both have to go through. And this process now will carry on moving forward, and that's an experience I would leave you to have, but the birthing experience, this whole process which I've just taken you through, listen, it's incredible, man. I wouldn't change it for the world, but your experience is going to be different from mine. But hopefully, the tips and tricks that I have given you through the process that I've experienced with my wife is that overall it's a positive one. It's beautiful. How can it not be? We've got the most beautiful little baby. She's absolutely incredible. And that's the end result, you know, and then life begins. Life begins for her, it begins for you, it begins for your wife and your partner. So, you know, really embrace that, get involved, you know, change a nappy. This whole thing of, you know, I've seen videos of men changing nappies and they're like throwing up. Listen, grow up, you know, like this is not like, this is real stuff. Have fun with it, don't get me wrong, because nappies stink. But so what? Change the nappy. That's it. Get it over and done with. You know, it's definitely, it's not a pleasant process. So I'm with you there. The smell is horrific, but they need you. You know, they need you. And one of the things, by doing these little things, the bond you will build with your son or your daughter is priceless. There is no price for this stuff. You know, so you know the experience that you will go through, you know, if you remove the good and bad, you know, the tough times, the, you know, sleepless nights and the change of pattern, this is the thing, you know, we're still, weirdly enough, you know, I've got one of these little smartwatches. So, you know, weirdly enough, I'm still getting like 8 hours sleep throughout the whole 24-hour day. But, you know, it's very broken up, you know, so, you know, make it work for you. You know, this is the thing, you know, this is what, you know, I also want to highlight is sleep with a baby, you know, when she's in a car or whatever, have a nap with her. You know, you sleep on a bed, she sleeps safely, or, you know, whatever works for you. It's okay. You know, there is no such thing as, oh, you know, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. Nuh-uh. You do what works for you and your partner, you know, and if you need to catch up and sleep throughout the day, fantastic. You know, go out once a day at least, you know, go and get some fresh air, you know, and eat healthy, you know, look after your partner, cook those dinners if, you know, she has gone through that operation and if she's not feeling great, you know, eating healthy, eating fruits, eating veg, staying hydrated for you and her. You know, listen, and I know this may sound a bit stupid and a bit cheesy, but listen, the nutrition part is so important, you know, because you're going to need it. You know, you're really going to need it. You know, whilst we were in a hospital, I was eating sandwiches and I felt I felt awful. As soon as I came home, I went shopping, bought loads of fruit, loads of veg, loads of, you know, like good proteins and yeah, and look, I feel great now, you know, and tired, but yeah, I feel great. I'm enjoying it. And that's the thing. And you can make that difference between, you know, feeling lethargic and tired. And this is the thing, it will affect your mental state, you know, your mood, and exactly the same with your partner as well. So these little things, you know, when you're at home, it will make such a huge difference. It really, really will. And again, I'm kind of just throwing the tips out there with little things that works for, you know, and works for Lucy and I. I think just being able to, you know, to really look after yourself, you know, healthy mind, healthy body, healthy spirit, you know, these things are absolutely, absolutely key. And we talk about this all the time. Keep your emotional intelligence healthy, you know, really, really important. Keep talking to each other. And if you need the support as well, speak up. You know, you're not there to carry burden. You know, you're there to share the load, to be, and again, this is not to and throwing. This is not a game. You know, this is real stuff. If you need a break, have a break. You know, Lucy will stay up with her. I'll go and have a sleep. I'll go and have a sleep, wake up, Lucy goes to have a sleep. You know, this is what I mean, is by having that kind of 50-50. Again, you and your partner will find the pattern that works for you, and, you know, the best way that you will both find comfortable. If you're getting to the point where you're snapping and you're getting angry at each other because you're both tired, have a look at those things, you know, make some healthy adjustments. And again, you know, you can do whatever you like. It's your life. It's, you know, it's your baby. So, you know, there is no right or wrong. And one of the biggest advices I can give you is listen to each other. It's your family now. It's not the world's family. It's not your parents. It's not your friends, your grandmother, or everybody else that has been there and done it before, because what worked for them won't work for you. So take good advice, positive advice, absolutely. Things that are constructive, but being told what to do, don't do this, don't do that, you may want to consider, just kind of keeping just putting a boundary in place with those people, and because at least for the short term, because this is your experience, this is your child, and those things again, these things are really, really important, when you're going through this stuff, because you've got to understand, these people don't live at your house. They're not there 24/7. They're not there looking after the baby. So it's always very interesting that people would love to come in and give you 100 million, different types of advice, but then they bugger off home and they're not there, with your partner 24/7, with the baby. So, yeah, just do what you need to do, and have fun. Again, I cannot stress this, this more. You're a father now, man. This is cool. Like, this is the biggest thing, that you will ever have. The relationship with your son or your daughter, it's priceless. It's absolutely priceless. Enjoy those moments. Enjoy their little face, because they grow and they change really, really quickly. And listen, rushing back to work, trying to get away from it as quickly as possible, you will regret it. I will tell you now, and I will highlight this. You will regret this. Make every single day, every single possible moment count for you, because you will never get it back. That's it. You will never get that moment back. So, if you keep, just enjoy it. Simple as that. Really, really enjoy this process, because it's incredible. Just really bond with your baby and bond with your partner. Just because you've had a baby, it doesn't mean that things all of a sudden change. I hear people talk about, my relationship with my partner's changed, blah, blah, blah. Mine hasn't. I know it's only been a week, but even throughout the whole process, we've just become stronger, as in our relationship. We bond even more. Lucy's going through a real emotional time at the moment, with everything that's going through, with her, with the recovery, with the emotional changes that she's going through, the hormones, and now having a baby, breastfeeding, that's been really tough on her, really, really tough emotionally. So, it's, it's just kind of being there, just really, really being there, make this experience count. And let it be a positive one. There will be tough times. Yeah, absolutely. Listen, just last night, Ruby was, she was challenging. She was really challenging. I'm not sure whether she had a little bit of colic or whatever, but, it was hard, but we stuck together, and we made it work. Eventually she went to sleep eventually. And what did we do? We caught up throughout the day. My daughter's here. She could not wait to see her. And she's just absolutely loving it. She's so excited to see her. And, she got so happy and it was incredible. And this is the one thing that I just want to bring up. I've often heard people who are having, their second or third kids, or or people who have had fathers, and I'm talking to you guys, or even women as well, who have had previous kids, and then you meet a new partner and you have a child with them. Often people start to stress. The kids are going to feel left out, and they're going to get upset. No, they won't. They often won't if you involve them. If you involve each other and you involve them and you make that a positive experience, of course they won't. Because they're going to feel part of it. They're going to be excited. You've got to make them excited. And if they don't feel excited, understand why. Don't just buy them a gift to shut them up, because again, that does not solve the problem. By talking to them, by understanding what they're experiencing, is so important for them, as it is for you as a man, as you're going through this process, as it is for your wife, going through that experience. And then as a mother, as a mother, as a father, and even the child, buying them a gift, isn't going to change diddly squat. It really isn't, and I'm personally against that, but what I am massively for is with my daughter. Throughout the whole pregnancy, she was here. You know, she comes and stay with us. She was here. She's talking to the baby. She's feeling the belly. She's kissing the belly. She's talking to Lucy. You know, she's getting involved. You know, and she helped us. You know, with the names, little things like that. You know, it makes such a huge difference. And now, like, she could not wait to get here. Her mum texted me and said to me, she's like, "Oh my God, you know, Maddie's so excited to see her. It's because she cannot wait to get to yours." And that in itself, you know, my partner, you know, was then excited. She's looking forward to Maddie being here. My ex, you know, and her husband messaging us. My son's mum messaging us, you know, and saying congratulations. See, guys, that's the difference. You know, when you communicate, it doesn't matter whether it's your ex or whatever, you know, communication is so key, you know, to build these friendships, you know, these long-term relationships. You know, because when we have a child with our current or our exes, we're in each other's lives forever, whether we like it or not. You know, as long as the child is there, the relationship's going to be there. You know, don't make it about you. Make it about the child's well-being. You know, if you make it about them, you know, and their happiness and what's good for them as a unit, you will see, you know, and I've been very blessed. And I guess I've been blessed because I've worked at it. You know, I said to myself, even from a young age, you know, with my son's mum, we created that bond. Yes, we've had our ups and downs. We've argued and, you know, and so on and so forth. But who doesn't? Who hasn't? But she's been one of my longest friends. I've known her for, you know, my son's 20 now. You know, I've known her for like 21 years. So, you know, and she's got, you know, two beautiful kids, you know, as well as my son now, you know, and she texts me asking me how I am. You know, our son, you know, just came back from Australia and we were talking about him, you know, and he's now at uni and I've been talking to him about it as well, you know. So I cannot stress enough, you know, about how important communication is and to be able to build these relationships. And people often say, "Oh, it's all right for you." Yeah, it is all right for me. And I own it because I put the effort into it. And yes, listen, I'm going to sympathize because it does take two. You know, if you put the effort in and the other person isn't willing to, then listen, as long as you're doing your part and, you know, you're doing what you need to do, then that's, you know, that's all you can do. You know, you have to put a boundary in place sometimes to step away if that's not going to work, because sometimes it doesn't. But what I wanted to, you know, the highlight here was about, you know, the other kids, you know, the other little ones who often sometimes can feel a little bit left out, but they only feel left out because we leave them out. That's it. You know, we leave them out so they feel left out. So then we think that by buying them presents, you know, it's going to solve the problem, but yet we then continue to leave them out. You know, so try to involve them, get them involved. Get them to give them the bottle, or to give them give the baby kisses, and get them emotionally connected. Get them to bond. You know, these things are so important. So, anyways, you know, I can kind of ramble on for hours on this stuff. You know, but hopefully, you know, you guys and ladies have taken something away from this, and you know, this was just my experience. I wanted to share it, and listen, I cannot wait to continue. I cannot wait to go in and you know, spend some more time with my daughters and just carry on this journey. And if you're going through this journey, I wish you nothing but success. All the success in the world, all the love, all the happiness, and yeah, stick together. Have fun, man. You've just brought a life into the world. And enjoy it now. Embrace it. You know, be that pillar for them. You know, be that inspiration. Inspire them to be great. You know, and give them all the love, all the positivity. Listen, materialism isn't gonna teach them the things that they need to survive in life. Communication, love, honesty. You know, these positive things. You know, being a teacher is it's really what's gonna help them, you know, in the next few years. So listen, guys, thank you so much for listening, and I hope you took something away from this. leave your comments. I would love to hear from you as a father, as a mum. Again, I'm not here to kind of debate, but I would love to hear your experience and maybe something that I can learn from you guys, maybe something that you've experienced, which, could potentially help me as well. I'm here to try and help you, but listen, I'm a student, as much as I like teaching, I'm a huge student first. I'm always a student first. So, thank you so much for every single person that listens, every single person that likes, every single person that follows us, every single person that shares. By you sharing this experience, helps not only you, it helps me to continue to do this work, and it helps others as well. And that's what this is all about. Happy as Larry Group is about helping others, and to create this, free community where we can just speak and we can just share incredible experiences, and even the tough ones as well, because they are incredible experiences. And that's what I mean by that. Incredible experiences are all experiences. It doesn't matter how we label them. So have a fantastic day, have a fantastic evening. If you're up and because you can't sleep, with the baby, and you're watching this, listen, enjoy it. Give that baby a big, massive kiss and love them every single day for the rest of your life. Trust me, you won't regret it. So listen, if you have any questions, go to our website, www.happyaslarrygroup.com. You can find our contact details there. If you need any emotional support, if you are struggling, from an emotional perspective, and you need somebody to coach you through what you're going through at the moment, then please reach out and we can help you with that from a coaching and therapeutic perspective as well. And of course, as you know, we also do the mindfulness, part. Emotional intelligence is what we, it's our expertise. So yeah, I will leave it there. So thank you very much for listening and for watching, and I will see you again very soon. Take care.